and gentlemen, it all comes down to this. 16 of the world's best teams have come to LA with the same goal, win it all and make history.
Hey everyone, Jada Griffin here with IGN. I'm at the Kia Forum for the VCT Grand Finals. I'm joined by Anna Donlon and Leo Faria. Hello everybody.
Hello.
How are you guys doing? You guys enjoying the game so far?
The games so far are amazing. I'm kind of looking through my sideline to see how this map's doing, but yeah, games so far incredible.
Indeed, so happy to be here. Such a great day for us. The conclusion of a whole season, and yeah, I mean, games are looking good, very competitive.
Now, I do have a couple questions for you guys about Valorant. Valorant's finalizing its third year of official tournaments. What lessons have you learned as you're preparing for the fourth year and all the changes you've announced so far?
We've experimented a lot in the first 2 years of Valorant. 2020, we had the Ignition Series kicking off the competitive ecosystem for Valorant. We run 2021, 2022. 2023 is the first year where we have the fully fledged version of the VCT. We launched 3 brand new international leagues. We built this new partnership system with teams, and we're just very excited to see how everything is going. So going into next year, we're going to iterate on all of that. We're making changes to the season so there's better progression. So the stakes and the scale of competitions grow as we move further into the calendar. We're bringing our global events to new locations. We're going to Madrid for the first part of the year. Then we're going to Shanghai, which is very exciting. We have more teams in our leagues. So we have teams ascending from Tier 2 into Tier 1. So lots of things to be excited about.
Now, you mentioned Madrid and a couple of other countries that you're looking to. We just recently unlocked Japan and China for Valorant. What other locations are you guys looking to activate within Valorant?
Tokyo, Japan, that was like a huge unexpected player base for us. I don't think that was really, we just didn't know what was possible there, and so seeing players show up there was pretty incredible. But we're actually being played pretty much globally at this point, and with the release of the game in China, that's actually been the biggest region for us to unlock. It's been 3 years since the game has been out. We've not been able to get the game into China, so we're really excited to see what that community wants out of the game. We're just getting to know them, still pretty new, but really I think that's going to be part of our focus, is really like digging into that region and figuring them out, and then just continuing to make sure that we're supporting players all over the world that are showing up for the game right now.
Valorant is known for its vibrant cast and locations. What's your guys' design philosophy when it comes to creating elements like maps and agents that are bespoke to the universe while making them still like kind of stand out and elevate the game?
Everything starts with design. Like, we start with design first. It's the number one thing we do. We look for, new play styles that would make the game fresh and interesting, but not kind of like break the remainder of the game for everybody else. When we do map design, we don't want the map to kind of take over the gameplay. We really want it to be about agents, abilities, and shooting. But with the map design, we take a lot of care into making sure we present maps that create new challenges, but also really great ways for players to use all of their agent abilities. So I would say that's the first thing we do, is just really make sure we understand what the game needs, what players are looking for out of the design, and then we start doing basically scout locating, or we try to or location scouting, where we try to figure out where should we go, what regions do we want to represent within the maps, what regions do we want to represent within the agents. It's actually been really, really nice having the game set on Earth, because we can actually represent all these real world places and really represent our player base globally. So yeah, for us it's been design first, always, first and foremost, and then the really exciting part of bringing the creative into it, figuring out where we want everything to be from and how we make the game, our player base, feel really, really global.
Now, Valorant's attracted pros from a variety of different esports scenes and from other games. In your opinion, what makes the game attractive to players that began their careers in other titles?
It all starts with the game, right? I think a lot of these players grew up playing different types of games. A lot of them come from shooters. I think many of them come from tactical shooters. Some of them come from action shooters. We saw some players coming from a career in League of Legends. They can see and transfer some of their abilities of using agent ability, champions abilities into agent abilities. And it's a very healthy mix of pros. I think what makes Valorant special, it's that exact idea of a game that gunplay matters a lot, but you have such a high skill ceiling because of the abilities. There's such dynamism into the game, and pros love that, because at the end of the day, a sport is seeing human beings performing at their best, and they love that they can express themselves and have creative strategies and different ways of winning the game. PRX is a great example of a team that has a very chaotic way of playing the game that their opponents just don't expect. I think when you put all of that together with how we're structured the sport, with these international leagues and a partnership model that allow organizations to offer stable career to pros, where we have a healthy path to pro, and now we're just launching Premier that will allow more people to go up and become a pro. All of those things combined, I think, make Valorant a very appealing, title and sport for pros to dedicate their careers to, and we're seeing that coming to life.
Now, you mentioned the Premier, and I know that's a new format and feature that you guys are rolling out to Valorant. How do you see that kind of evolving esports in general? Like, do you see that you hope that that's going to be kind of a takeoff point for some of the other, maybe League of Legends or other esports out there? Do you think it's like a viable option?
From the beginning of Valorant, we had this idea, this dream of creating one path to pro that starts in-game. And Premier is coming to enable that. We want to remove friction for anyone who wants to go pro. And the idea behind Premier is if you put together a team with other 5 friends, and you're good enough, if you win, that's all it takes to get to the biggest stage in Valorant. And we're launching that now. The hope is that we can give everyone around the globe the opportunity to play in Premier and compete. Premier is going to be available in all markets where Valorant is available, which again just gives us incredible reach to every player around the world. And yeah, if you're aspired to go pro, hopefully it's going to be easy. All that matters is if you're good enough.
When we first started thinking about Premier, we were thinking about that tournament system well before we launched the game. It was definitely not going to be ready in time for launch, but also we just needed to make sure that it was something players would even be excited about. And would we have players, was probably question one at launch. But then as we started to develop the game even further, we realized it was actually probably the main missing component of our competitive ecosystem for players, because we really think about a lot of team members on Val came from other games and played competitively in other games. We've brought a lot of those folks onto the dev team, and for them, playing in all of those tournament systems as they were growing up, they always wanted something to be able to play like that in client. It was something that they always had hoped for. They were like, this is something that doesn't exist for us. Can we build it here? And so once we kind of had a pathway to do it, it was like pretty obvious that we were going to start to develop it. And then working with Leo and the esports team and actually seeing, hey, we can actually connect these two things to each other. You can actually have it not just be, I'm playing tournaments, it feels good, I have my in-game win, but it can actually climb up into pro play. I think we just always talk about 5 friends with a dream, making it all the way. And I think the moment that happens, we will all be tuning in. That will be the most exciting moment. As far as whether or not this will be used in other ecosystems, I think it's too soon to tell. This is a brand new experiment for us. It's one we're very excited about and invested in, but just like anything else, I imagine we're going to have to make adjustments along the way. Hopefully we've inspired something really cool for other games to adopt as a format, but I wouldn't count our chickens yet. We still have a lot of work to do. We're just rolling out launch in the coming weeks, and we'll see how it goes.
There's a lot of, let's say, healthy rivalries between the teams in Valorant. How do you guys as a company balance that between allowing the players to kind of just enjoy the rivalry or having to step in? Recently, the Evil Geniuses and PRX game, there was a little bit of a penalty, kind of warning. How do you guys handle that kind of situation? What's your guys' stance on that?
So look, I think at the end of the day, fans like esports because of the stories, right? At the end of the day, it comes down to the human beings and why they're playing and why they're competing. And they're there because they want to win. So we want to see the rivalries. We don't want them to be vanilla. We want the spiciness. That's good. But they cannot cross a line, right? If they cross a line, we have a very clear, very rigid reglement and policies and rules. And if they do cross a line, they will be held accountable. And I think, so far we have been seeing a quite healthy rivalry. The spiciness is good. Whenever players do something that feels, disrespectful or out of bounds, you rest assured we're going to hold them accountable. But so far, we would like the spiciness, and we think fans like it too.
We all talk a lot of shade too. I think we all, I play the game, I get very heated, I say a lot of stuff, I do a lot of things, but I think the game is being played professionally at this level. We do have certain expectations of our players and in terms of how they think about sportsmanship and how they kind of approach the game. So yes, we definitely don't want to water it down. We don't want it to be just fist bumps and high fives all the time. But yeah, like Leo said, I think there's just a point where we're going to ask them to kind of follow at least some set of rules. And when they don't, then unfortunately we have to hold them accountable.
Just from the opening ceremony and the players coming out today, they have a lot of style. Every person coming out kind of gave their own je ne sais quoi, they kind of did their own thing. Is that something you guys are encouraging as Riot, or is that something that the teams kind of took upon themselves?
I think it's a little bit of both, actually. I think we were, kind of hopeful with the game itself. We tried to go for something, that felt fresh and modern and stylish, just the music choices that we have and kind of how we dress our agents. And so we kind of wanted it to have a vibe. That was the whole goal. We didn't know if our pros would also have a vibe, and we were waiting and seeing. And I think right out of the gate, they started doing their walkouts in this really, really artistic and fun and sometimes fashionable and sometimes just really zany way. And we love it. So yes, we definitely encourage it, but we don't we don't require it. They are free to come out as whoever they want to be. Fortunately, something about our game, something about our players is bringing out this amazing showmanship in them, and we love it. We love it.
At the end of the day, our job is just to give them the opportunity to do so, right? So creating things like the walkouts and having POVs that shows their reactions throughout the whole game, we just give them a platform, we give them, the spotlight, and they shine, and we're seeing them shining in. Yeah, it's really happy to see that.
Give me your heart!
You're entering a new genre with Project L, and it's another whole nother esports arena. Do you guys think you're going to be successful kind of breaking in that? What are your guys' kind of, thoughts going into this whole new genre for another esport?
Well, I will not speak too much for that team, but what I will say is I know that they are planning to approach Project L the same way we've approached every Riot game, which is to first focus on making an excellent game that people want to play, understanding whether or not we got it right, and making adjustments as we go. And also, we always talk about just kind of like needing to earn the right to do a sport. We don't want to presume. I think Project L is exactly the right game for an esport. I think the people developing it would feel very similarly, but I think we have to wait and see. Similar to Val, like we had plans for a sport, but we weren't going to actually enact them until we knew the community wanted the sport out of the game. So I know that the Project L folks are thinking in a very, very similar way. I think they're making a game that can do it, but I think they want to wait and see how it goes and build their community, and then go ahead and build their sport on top of that community.
So one of the main differences between the League of Legends competitive scene and the VCT can be seen through franchising versus a league with partner teams that can be relegated and promoted into the S-tier competitions. What was the philosophy behind having this different approach to Valorant?
We have the benefit of coming second at Riot and learning from the biggest esport in the world. League has been around for 12 years now, and we have seen them doing a lot of amazing things that we now get to, build on top of. And I think one of those things is exactly the model in which we partner with these organizations. And for Valorant, we landed on this very interesting model that kind of gets us the best of both worlds. So we have 10 partner teams that have permanent slots. We want to provide them stability because we noticed, we came to the conclusion after 12 years that's one of the things that really sets the sport for success, because then teams can make long-term investments, they can sign multi-year deals with partners, multi-year deals with teams, and it just gives them stability to build the business. But we also wanted to give new teams the opportunity to come in, new pros the opportunity to, prove themselves and win their way into these leagues. And that's why we created Challengers, that's why we created Ascension. And we're seeing this year for the first time teams coming up from Ascension into international leagues next year. We're very excited to see how they're going to shake up the league and the competitions around the world. But yeah, big learning from League of Legends. We're very excited. This was the first year we ran with this model with teams, and it's been amazing. They're bought into our vision. They're producing content for all of these global events. They're hosting watch parties, and just year one, we have a lot of work to do, but it's been really incredible.
Thank you so much for your guys' time today. I'm so excited to check out more Valorant, see more of the grand finals today, and for all things Valorant, keep it locked at IGN.
What started off as a season of misery ends in a season of infamy. Give it up for your 2023 World Champions, Evo Geniuses!